the electric vehicles, and of course you need somewhere to charge them, and most of that charging takes place at home. But is this still an opportunity for electricians, or have you missed the market altogether? What is the situation when it comes to new builds? What does the future look like, and why is there a house on this housing estate with a massive thirst for fresh orange juice? That's just some of the questions we're going to be asking in tonight's eFIXX TV with the team from Zaptec, the pioneers of EV chargers from Norway, where there's a lot of chargers and a lot of cars in Norway. So let's go and find out what they've got to say. Now, you might have guessed we have got a bit of an EV theme for tonight's show, because these EVs are gathering like wildebeest around the drinking hole, or as we like to call it, pinching our free electricity. So our guests are already inside taking on the Electricians Challenge. So let's just see who we've got this week. So we've currently got Guy Hayden, MD of Zaptec UK, taking on the challenge wall. Yeah. Now we're not going to... You all right? Is that going well?
You never know, do you?
Well, we will know tonight, and we've even got a special new camera angle hiding in there. So tune in to see what happens there. So also joining Guy, we have got Charlotte, who's hiding behind the chair here. And think, if I just spin this around, it's like mastermind here. Chosen specialised subjects, Norwegian EV chargers. Joined with Justin as well. How are you getting on with the challenge, Justin?
Terribly.
Terribly.
I'm in sales.
That's good. I'd like to get early excuses in there before. So join us. There'll be live commentating on that tonight. We'll also be taking a sneak peek at this exterior consumer unit. That's coming up in the show tonight as well. And Joe's doing his best. He's sitting there editing as we go. Now, Joe bails us out all of the time when we make mistakes, but he's going to get his own back tonight as we go caught off camera. And there's just one other thing I'd like to know. We're not going to go into Gary's time. We're not going to divulge his time. Who sent us this pallet truck? It turned up in the post. It's got eFIXX on it, but we just don't know. We just don't know anything about this random pallet truck has turned up. If you sent it, admit it. If not, we're just going to start using it anyway.
Well, welcome to our eFIXX fortnightly stream. Whether you're joining us live, so thank you very much if you are, or you've got us on catch-up, please pile in those comments and we'll get back to as many as we can. What's today's topic then, Gordon?
Well, as you picked up in the intro, they're all about EVs. I've been out on site with good friend Nick Ramo. He's already tuned in already. I can spot him in there, ready for the comments. He'd be worried now, actually. There's, obviously after he stitched me up a couple of weeks ago. But yeah, and we've got some fantastic guests from Zaptec that we'll meet in a while. So yeah, I would say any questions on EV, put them in. As I say, even if they're in, even if you're watching on catch up, we'll send them all off to the team at Zaptec and they can answer them.
Absolutely. Now, when I think of EV, I think of the journey of the electrician, and no better example than Rocket Ross Sands. I think 2 minutes 53. Will it get troubled this evening with 3 attempts from the team at Zaptec? We'll get to it because it's a fantastic race all coming up in the show. But when we first met him, he wasn't in that world of EV, was he? And let's think about his journey. And is this something we think that maybe become more commonplace now as people go to EV and where the next steps are, Gordon?
Yeah, I mean, we see loads of electricians and lots of them still aren't fitting EV chargers, and we'll find out tonight. Is it possible really to avoid doing that? As obviously EV adoption takes off. And Ross was a great example because we had to do a series on EV charging, and obviously we don't like doing any real work. So we had to find someone to do that work, and we found Ross. We got him along. And we sort of said, you know, you can learn the ropes from us, and we'll obviously put it out on YouTube. And as we know on YouTube, the easiest way to get the right answer is to put the wrong answer out there, and then people weigh in. But anyway, we went on a journey with Ross. He hadn't done EV charging when he started with us, but now a look back is obviously EV charging. We've got some pictures, Rick. Let's see Ross in action. Who was the first one?
The cheeky chap that he is. That's the first one he ever did. He'd done that with us in, where were we? We were in Nailsborough, weren't we, when we did that one? Yes, when we did that one. And he looks as pleased as punch as he's finished it. But that's easy, isn't it? We managed that journey with him. We obviously set it up together and all the rest of it. But he took that journey on, didn't he? So he moves through his cycle. He didn't just necessarily stick with Zaptec. He's had to go a lot of EV chargers. Does that look local to you, does it, Gordon?
It is. That's one of my neighbours. And again, this is someone, recently had some work done on the house. Went back to the electrician who did that work, weren't interested in fitting an EV charger. Do you know anybody?
Right.
Boom, send in Ross. And obviously what we see a lot is EVs a stepping stone to other things.
Yeah, it is. And you've got a really small street. How many EV chargers has he installed in that street?
He's done, out of 25 houses, he's done 4 now.
Right, okay. Yeah, from someone when we first met him wasn't interested in EV, but it is that stepping stone. A lot of the way you said that as well, because once you've got to EV, obviously the customer now has you as their port of call when they're thinking about being a little bit smarter and a bit greener. And as we look at this installation here, we can see there's some wonderful photovoltaic cells on the roof, but who put those on?
Yeah, again, that's what Ross has stepped on, because what we found is people, once you've gone into EV, it might not escape your attention at the moment that energy prices have gone up.
Have they?
Just a little bit.
Oh, right, okay, I'll have a look
Obviously,
for
that forces people in the direction to think solar power. And then, obviously, who do you get? Oh, well, that electrician who did the EV charger. I sort of trust him. He gave me some good advice, set me on the journey, and then we're back in doing solar jobs.
So we're saying there really, aren't we, and this is where we want your comments as well, is the EV charger also your first step into the world of green that naturally becomes solar? And as we've got here, we've got that bi-directional inverter. So obviously we've got the ability then maybe to store that energy as well. So it sort of becomes a cycle. EV charger, solar PV and battery storage starts becoming maybe a suite of stuff that you'll be installing on the back of starting that EV journey.
Yeah, and that's, I think it's a market it's going to be tough for people to avoid. If you're doing a new build house, the chances are there will be an EV charger on there. And obviously, commercial, it sort of follows on, doesn't it? So we think great opportunity. Yeah,
and like you said there's a step back. The person who put the extension on that property said they don't want to do the EV charger. The next too expensive thing that's probably going on is the EV charger solar battery, isn't it? Lost out on all of that, and they were happy to pick up sockets and switches as a small one. That doesn't seem right to me.
And I think it's going to get easier as well. Looking at this product tonight, we're not going to show you quite yet, but this looks simple to install.
I was going to say, that's a better word. We've already been told about that word, haven't we? Yeah, it looks like an installation that fits itself when we're looking at those Zaptec products. Okay, so let's say we want your questions. We certainly do. And remember, by putting your questions in, it means you generate the fact that we can do a register later on. So when we do that register, obviously by putting a question in, you'll get a nice shout out from the team. There is a new segment, and a new member of the team is now in front of the camera for a larger period of time as we go across to look at caught off camera, which you mentioned, which I'm really looking forward to. But let's thank the people that keep the lights on here at Lineside Studios for these live streams. We'd like to thank the Lasico Group, okay, for being our headline sponsors for our live stream. And then we've got a couple of other people to mention. You're busily looking at the screen, and I'm trying not to look at the screen because I try and remember the wonderful people that look after us. We've got Luden Palazzoli, which is the heart of the race wall, which we're going to see this evening, aren't we? When we've got the 3 attempts tonight. That's going to be super exciting. That comes up later on. We've got our good friends Doncaster Cables that have the reels that go inside of that conduit, or not as the case may be, because we saw some tame efforts of trying to get it up the tube today as well. And we've got
Marshall Tuffley.
We have, yes.
We've just released a great CPD this week. If you haven't done it, it's in the description. Not that you're going to shoot off and do that now.
No, absolutely not.
Over the weekend, something for you to do. And,
yeah.
And you, last week, a great video went out looking at manufacturing mini trunking. Remember that?
That was kind of you there. You said a great video, and I think I was in that video. Yeah. Along with Darren down at Marshall Tufflex, the expert on the 2 videos. We're trying to do a whole series, aren't we, how stuff's made. We've been to Doncaster Cables. We've seen both EV Ultra and Twin and CPC cables, something called Twin and Earth on site. But now we've added mini trunking and PVC conduit to it, which is super exciting, isn't it? Yeah. Where would you like to go to now, Gordon?
Well, what stuff made, Gary? Yeah, I'd like to. Well, obviously, pop over to Zaptec, see the chargers made in Norway.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that'd be fantastic.
I'd like to go to Wago, so that's in Germany. That would be nice, wouldn't it, as well?
One thing, this week, opportunity. I was out on site. People talking about electric cars everywhere.
Right.
Yeah. But what about electric vans?
Ooh, get your comments in nice and
obviously, you're still driving around in an old oil burner. Yeah.
Well, sometimes I have a closer contact with the EV world than expected. Obviously, when you reversed into it, that was a nice close shave with the EV world there. So I'm probably got that typical vehicle, haven't I? I've got a Ford Transit van. Okay, it's a fossil fuel burner, but I'm doing loads of miles. I did 4.5 hours travelling on Monday. I drove up here for 4 hours on Tuesday. I'm going back on Thursday. There's obviously a reason why I've got that type of vehicle, and we haven't strayed over to EV ourselves. How far do you really think that sort of local electrician's going to be pattering around for?
Let's find out, because while I was out on site on Monday, I met up with Lee from Morzak EV.
Okay, Morzak?
Morzak, yeah.
So how did you come up with that name first of all?
Combination of his surname and his wife's surname.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
And there we go. But we've got a nice asset there, Rick. Can we bring that one in? Let's see what you have to find out about EV. So Lee, I thought I'd just distract you while you're trying to finish this job. Yeah?
Yes.
Electric vans. Yeah?
Yes.
How long have you been driving an electric van?
Since October last year.
Right, yeah. So you've been through the challenging period, as we call it, winter.
Yes, yeah.
So what range you find you get on the van?
So in the summer, easily sort of 170, 180 miles. Winter, more like 130, 140 miles.
Right, so that's real, like proper driving range.
Yes, yeah.
What would it say on the display when you get in the morning?
When I first got the van, it used to say 208 miles, and that slowly dropped. Now it's about, most of the time when it's fully charged, 186.
Right, and that covers you for most days out?
Yeah. So we tend to try and operate in a range that suits the van. So that's our working area was partly based around the van, so that we knew we could cover it using renewable technology.
Okay, so if you're competing with Lee, you know, if you're outside of a 90-mile radius, the chances are you're going to win the job. There's a top tip. Now, you've gone for a Peugeot van?
Yes, yeah, the Peugeot eExpert.
eExpert, and it's actually quite a big van, isn't it?
Yeah, I'd say compared to a Transit Custom, it's probably a tiny bit smaller, but the usable space is about the same, yeah.
Yeah, and you've got it fully loaded with a roof rack and what looks like a missile launcher on the top.
That's right, yeah.
Does that stay on all the time?
Yes, yeah, I do take my ladders on and off. I do find the ladders affect the range, whereas the roof tube, doesn't affect the range so much. The roof rack kind of does, but that's too much effort to take off.
Yeah, fair point there. And then charging, what sort of charging speed? Is it a 7 kilowatt charger?
So that was one of the reasons we went for this van, because it does have 7 kilowatts. You can buy it with a 22 kilowatt option, but we didn't see any kind of benefit to that. But it does also have a 100 kilowatt rapid charging, which is really useful for, when you can find them at the services, Ionity chargers.
Yeah, and then running costs compared to, we were on a diesel van before?
Yes, yeah, and I had a Vauxhall Vivaro diesel van as a hire van when there was somebody went into the back of me. I did document that on our channel, but overall, over a period of about 2 or 3 months, about 3 or 4 months, it was about 4 times more expensive running the diesel van at that time.
Wow, and that's it. And then obviously when it comes down to, are you leasing the van or did you?
No, I purchased it outright, yeah.
Who says there's not money in the EV market? There we go.
And do you always charge at customers' houses, Lee?
Yes.
Yeah. Does that go down well with customers, that you sort of practice what you preach?
Yes, yeah. So quite a lot of people have comment on it when I like to point it out to people. Turn up and doing surveys in electric van as well. It usually, if nothing else, it gets the conversation going, because they're entering the EV market and they're always a little bit nervous about how they're going to find it, range anxiety. So I can honestly say that we don't run any, even my personal vehicle at home is an electric vehicle. So we can sort of give our experiences and the ups and downs and things you need to consider.
Right. Any tips for electricians wishing to adopt an electric van?
I think if you're not doing more than 130 mile a day, which I'd say most tradespeople are, working locally, running around towns and not doing long motorway miles, just go for it. If you're looking to upgrade your van, I think you do the math, and whether you're leasing or whether you're purchasing the van, the electric van, it makes sense from a price point of view, from a money point of view, and you're doing the right thing for the planet.
There we go. And on that bombshell, looks like you're also reading the instructions for this battery inverter.
That's right, yeah.
Is that going to be on your channel soon?
Yes. So we're going to have, I'm doing a collaboration with eFIXX, installing this hybrid inverter and battery system. So I'm going to have part of the installation video doing the survey on my channel, and the rest of the install will be on Nick's channel.
There we go. And you're reading the instructions, which is a first.
Yeah, from behind the camera, I think you caught him out a couple of times nicely there. So Lee is in the comments, isn't he?
He is. He's on tonight, and I sort of just clipped the mic on there and took that as an opportunity to get his thoughts on that, and it was great. I had a great fun on that particular day. And obviously Nick sneaking in there for a cameo role. in the interview, but he's, yeah, I mean, living the electric dream, I would say.
And I'd say we're asking for those comments. So, of course, with Lee being in the comments, fire him in there, and hopefully he'll manage some of those on the way through. All those angst points about owning electric vehicle and obviously working as an electrician. But it's one of those, and can you realistically turn up as an EV specialist? You know, as one putting it out as a predominantly or green, maybe with the battery and the solar, and not be driving a battery-powered van. That would be, interesting point for me.
Yeah, well, that's good, guys. Put Lee to work in the comments. That's what we want.
Yeah, absolutely. Get him to work in the comments. So, we don't have to do quite some more. And again, there will be a prize for the best comments, so make sure you get those in. So whether it be that Lee picks it out or whether we see one that comes across to our guests. We've got some guests.
We have got
I want
some
to go on to
guests.
hand cam to just see our guests. Shall we have a little look at our guests? So we'll bring that one back in. Hopefully we're on hand cam, so we're not quite yet, just my leg cam at the moment. Here they are. We've got these two old dudes. They'll be in later on doing their little bit. We've got a new segment now with you in. And here we have. We've got our lovely guests. We're going to start off with two. Okay, so we're going to start off. Who are we starting off with, Gordon?
Well, we've got Guy Hayden and Justin Savage.
Yeah, so if they want to join us, and then later on the race wall, we'll see if who's the fastest amongst us. I've got a funny feeling it could be the big fella. Look at that.
So, Guy, I guess we'll start with you. Yeah. Zaptec. That might be, obviously, because we follow this space, we're very familiar with Zaptec. We've already reviewed this product here, the Pro, last year, great for car parks, but who are Zaptec for probably the people who haven't heard of Zaptec?
Yeah, so Zaptec, we're a Norwegian manufacturer of EV charging. We've been around fully into EV charging since about 2015, sold in that space now into the hundreds of thousands of chargers across different markets, primarily Europe. And in the UK, we've been operating since April 2020. And through the last year, we've been building our base of installers and working with some wholesalers and some great developers to sort of get the product out there. And really, honestly, with you, Gordon and Gary, this is the product we've been waiting for. This Zaptec Pro with pen fault detection. Obviously, as you say, we've had the Pro on the market for a little while, but these two products primarily.
A challenging start to the business, and anyone just heard there April 2020. I think we found a challenging start at that moment in time as well. So you started effectively in the start of COVID.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, so 2021, I joined the business. Sorry, yeah.
All right. Okay.
Yeah, but it was effectively during COVID. So I've recruited a team remotely across the country, and we are where we are now.
So this pen fault protection has been built in. Just give us a little overview, Gordon. Then, what is this pen fault protection? In case it's the first time people have heard of it.
Well, obviously, what we're finding in EV charging, all the countries in Europe are good at inventing ways of keeping people out of the market. So I think is it right in France you have to have shuttered sockets?
Shuttered sockets, Schuko plugs, different things, yep.
Yeah, and Italy do the same, and then, Germans are probably good. But
Mid-metering in Germany to certain specifications.
Yeah, so we invented the pen fault.
Right, okay, to add another layer in there.
Yeah, so that's our sort of barrier to entry to the market, which is obviously because we use TNCS power supplies, and obviously sometimes they're not possibly as well maintained as they could have been in the past. And the cable breaks, there's a shock risk. So we shoehorned into the regulations over the last few years the need to have pen fault protection, which is either built into the charger or you have to buy an external device. And obviously external device adds complexity, and there can be some issues around those as well. So, and
it's an incredibly small unit as well. We've got one in the back there that probably Gordon will grab when I come in with hand cam. Let's have a look at this one on hand cam. That is an incredibly small amount of just screw to the outside of the building, but actually look at what we've got in there. That is fantastically well designed, isn't it? Everything's under this cover. Yeah, what's the reason behind that?
Yeah, so that is the IP54 rated piece of the charger. So if for whatever reason the front cover gets damaged or it's perhaps not correctly attached, I'm sure the installers watching this channel wouldn't be doing that. But if there's any issues with the external cover, that is actually your weatherproof protection in there.
Anything there to help with the speed of the installation for the electrician?
Yeah, so there's a few features. Essentially, there's 3 cable entry points, one on the bottom, one at the rear and one at the top. You can choose any one you like, and there's bungs supplied for that. You pull your cable in, there's a bracket at the bottom that you can use, and it is literally three Wago or Vargo clips to completely install, and then you commission it with a smartphone.
Well, yeah, it is simple. We've had a look at it, and we've said it probably when we're at Mastab, so we're saying it here. It is beautiful, isn't it, Gordon? If you look at the covers we've got in front of there, that is a beautiful. It's both small and beautiful. A bit like myself.
It is remiss of me actually not to mention that I think one of the only chargers, if not the only charger on the market, that does have an inbuilt spirit level, which is a really neat piece of just a neat piece of
Is that design. Part of the pen fault protection? Is it the
no, it's just a nice little spirit level.
Okay.
Yeah. But I mean, as a thing of beauty, I obviously like electronic things. That is really well designed.
Yeah.
So we see some of them, you take the back off, it looks like a bit like a farm. You've got green fields and silos and wires growing out of them. That is a neat unit.
Do you think that comes from its Norwegian heritage? Because the weather over there tends to be a little bit maybe inclement, doesn't it, at times? So obviously a bit harsh on the units.
It is certainly built for Norwegian conditions, that's absolutely right. So English drizzle, don't really have to worry too much. But yeah, I think the approach to it is Scandinavian in a lot of ways. You know, less is more. Ease is what we want, right?
There's something about Norway, isn't it? There's a massive EV industry there.
Yep.
Is there any reasons why is Norway such a sort of adopt? I think I read some stats that nearly 90% of cars have got a plug on them.
Yeah, so in any given month in Norway, it's above 80% of all new cars, and that's month on month. That compares to probably about 20 to 25% in a given month in the UK. So their month to month, new buying figures are much higher than ours. But also, in fairness, let's be honest about it, the Norwegian Sovereign Wealth Fund does give them a lot of freedom to subsidise and give things away for free. And they've been doing that as far back as the 1990s. So back in the 1990 itself, they introduced briefly no VAT on EV sales back then, and that was introduced permanently in 1996 and has been in since then.
Right.
So they're taking the sovereign wealth, are we talking about drilling the Earth's crust, removing maybe some of the old dinosaurs that might be there, and actually selling that to everybody else, and then keeping the nice clean energy for themselves?
I mean, Norway have made some money elsewhere, let's say, so much so that it's actually £262,000 for every man, woman and child in the country, sat in a big bank account somewhere.
Wow.
And you're headquartered in Stavanger, isn't it? Which is the heart of the oil industry.
That's right, yeah.
Now, I've been there, actually. Have you been too?
Doesn't matter what he's done, does it? Doesn't matter what you've done. I said to you, he'll be done it. So what did you? Let me guess. You invented the first ever EV charger.
There's a museum there, Gary.
Oh right, you starred in it. Were you the oldest thing in the museum when you got there?
There's a museum of canned fish.
Wow.
So this is before the oil industry. Stavanger was famous for canned fish. I've got a photograph, Rick.
Of course you have. Of course you have, from the family album.
Yeah. There you go.
Oh,
wow.
This is inside the museum. You can get yourself some fish balls.
wow.
Do we have multiple slides?
Oh yeah, it's got some more here. Look at that. That's outside. There's a big fish tin.
Yeah, it does, doesn't it?
And there you go. I mean, that's a sort of science. How many fish can you get in a tin?
Different types of fish as well?
Different types of fish.
Was there any particular fish? Was there a fish of focus at the camp?
A lot of sardines seem to be popular there, actually. And I come. So we've got Justin here as well. You're from the sales team.
I am indeed.
Yeah. Have you been out to Norway as well?
I've been lucky enough to go over just before Christmas, yes.
Did you go to the Tinned Fish Museum?
It wasn't on the agenda for that trip. Maybe next time.
I can't believe. Guy, you want?
Too little time, unfortunately. Busy, making and selling chargers. But maybe next time. Add a day, I think. Yeah. Is it a day?
Well, if you can combine it with the Twinned Museum, the Norwegian Museum of Printing.
Wow. Okay. Yep.
Yeah. And can you guess what they print?
Is it labels for canned fish?
There you go. That's why it's there. And they've recently amalgamated together so you can combine two visits into one. So.
I think that's just underlined why Gordon will always remain a work colleague and not a close friend. Okay, wow. Okay, yeah, so, yeah. Meanwhile, back in the world of EV, what is your role, Justin, in the company?
So I've been brought in to be the head of developer channels. So basically anything that's new build that requires EV, and obviously in the UK that's going to be a massively growing market over the coming years. So yeah, that's what I'm there for.
And what's the state of now? Because I was on a new build estate this week, and the houses they're building now don't seem to have EV chargers going in.
Okay.
What's it going to look like over the next sort of year or so? Is it something house builders have to put in now, or is it still a sort of?
So typically the government have brought in a new building regulation, Part S, which a lot of installers of EV will be aware of or should be aware of. Developers certainly are. And basically every new property moving forward will have to have an active EV charger of a certain specification, certain compliance levels as standard before it can be occupied. So it's a massive thing. I think we're the first country in the world that's put that in place. So.
Right. So you say active, I can't just put the old cable or conduit hanging out the wall?
Unfortunately not, no. So there's no backplate only, there's no cable only, there's no let's do it once they've moved in. it's got to be there, it's got to be active before it can be occupied.
Right. And we're trying to build 300,000 new homes a year, something like that. So.
Yep.
Yeah,
I'm in.
You said you were listed as a company on the stock market. Yes, maybe it's time to purchase a few shares. Yes, okay. So that's great. So I take it from what you said there, you saw some new builds without them. Obviously, I imagine is that the old chestnut where we managed to get the plans in and a spade in the ground before? They obviously updated that, because I thought there was a massive push that every new builder was going to have them in. So you've still seen the odd ones going up without them.
I think that's an estate that had been built for some time.
Right.
It was just, they haven't put the top coat of tarmac on.
Ah, that old chestnut.
But surprising, I was actually surprised how many EVs I saw in actually quite a, there was a lot on the street. Now, whether that's because Nick Ramo lives down there and he's been tucking them up with you off the car lot or something, I don't know.
You didn't see an old Tesla, did you, down there? Yeah, gold wing doors and all the rest of it.
Yeah, but even some houses, you're sort of talking 2 EVs on the drive.
Right.
Clearly, we're down South Manchester. There's a bit of brass down there, Gary. So the
okay.
2 EVs chargers now. So
It'd be nice to get the one. But coming back to you, something we said earlier on, what's your vehicle of choice then in the business? What are you all driving around in?
At the moment, I've got an EQC. That's mine.
I've got a Tesla 3 long range.
Yeah, so we're back to that original thing, isn't it? You can't peddle your wares if you're not actually preaching what you're obviously saying, and that obviously comes with it, doesn't
I
it?
visited my last petrol station a long time ago, actually.
Right, okay.
A long time ago, yeah.
They're all right still. You still get food in there and all sorts. Ginsters available, sausage rolls. Don't get in this shape overnight. I'm in the bulking phase. You did ask me if I did a lot of lifting.
No, I didn't.
Yeah.
Sorry, Gary. I just assumed.
Mostly food to my face. Yes, you said that as well, didn't you? Fantastic. Can we have a look at some of these covers? Because I am subtly in love with those. And then it's a bit iPhone-ish in some ways, isn't it? Because we have the option, once we've had one installed, let's say, for instance, we've got a nice white one. So, yeah, bring the white one forward for me. So that, say, is installed on my house, and I'm on a development with 400 other properties, and we've all got the same EV charger. Yep. Well, we've all got the same colour front door and windows, but we'd obviously like to jazz it up a little bit. Is there anything we can do?
Yeah, absolutely. We've got a couple of the cover plates here. There are another couple. There's a brown one, for example. But black, essentially, is what we sell most of. Sell a lot of black in the UK. Obviously, that's the kind of the go-to. This is sort of a moss green.
Which I love, yeah.
Yes, and I don't know if you can see this. This is a personal favourite, so I will highlight it. I do quite like the blue.
Okay.
That looks quite nice. There's some modern properties with that blue sort of frontage, which I do like. And additionally, as I say, there's a white and there's also...
So if I've got a white one, I can just quite simply get myself another one, purchase another one and clip it on the front and change it over.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Front cover just clips on nice and easy like that.
So when you look down the street, I'm the person that has got the black front door then. As you know you do, everyone's got a white one and somebody inserts a black front door.
Yes, so again...
How many different colours are there, Justin? You've been tested, yeah?
There's 6 different colours.
Oh, there you go.
And they're all Scandinavian colour palette, so you will find they fit with
a wooden
essentially... Thing. Well, house frontages, they fit quite nicely. There's nothing too garish.
I mean, if we dial back, that is almost the colour of the front of the Canned Fish Museum. I mean, that would just...
Is it really?
Fit right in, yeah.
I'm not sure if they have a charger, actually. I'll have to ask my Norwegian colleagues.
I'd get around there.
And we'll see you in 2 weeks' time on the live stream here at eFIXX. All right, fantastic.
There's been some other changes, hasn't there? Because EV regulations have changed recently, haven't they? Because there's security things. But what does that mean for a charger? Because obviously there's been some, grey areas, isn't there? There was a lot of discounted chargers on sale in December.
Correct, yeah, lots
of some cracking deals.
And we saw it again with the smart charge regulations that came in last year, which I'm sure you talked about at the time. But yeah, these new security regs that came in on the 31st of December. Essentially, it's around security of the charger from a software, from a firmware, from a hacking point of view that the government have brought in. But the other key thing that installers need to be aware of is case open detection, essentially. Okay. So the regulation now is that there has to be, I believe it's termed a notification raised if a case is opened. So the way that Zaptec have integrated this, again, because everything, all the smart stuff is in that inside case, we've integrated it by an optical sensor, which is a tiny, tiny piece. You can't say there, and you'll have to excuse my terrible nails.
Okay, somewhere in there.
Tiny little bit in there, which you might just be able to see, that black piece sitting below, between the 2 grey.
Okay.
And that optical sensor corresponds with essentially a reflective strip, which sits on the inside of the case. When that is closed, obviously your beam is complete, if you like. Yep. And if the case is opened, there is a notification raised to a smartphone.
Yeah. Really good. Yeah.
Is that quite a UK specific thing? Has that been?
Well, the case open detection and the security regulations are UK based. Right. But interestingly, the case open detection, Zaptec do plan to integrate internationally just because of the features, particularly on Pro. I think that's something that could be valuable to different businesses as we move forward.
Yeah.
Justin, we said at the start of the show, is it still a field that electricians should be getting into? What's your feeling from your end of the business? Is it still got plenty of legs left in it?
Absolutely. I mean, if you think just the new build market alone, going from practically zero 12 months ago to potentially 250, 300,000 new properties, there should be enough for everybody. Everybody that's in the UK market already, and probably tenfold moving forward. They're going to be looking for a simple, straightforward, quick to install solution. It's good looking. We've got a 5-year guarantee on our product. And that's
so warranty or guarantee? I think it's
guarantee.
Guarantee. That's a little bit different then, yes.
Absolutely. So the guarantee of 5 years is something that really only other companies have got the warranties for maybe 3 years. They've got to then pay for an extended warranty. So our guarantee covers the hardware, it covers the installation as well. So
we said installation there, so that's, yeah, so I'm thinking installation. I might be watching this thinking, well, I currently install them. I didn't realise how beautiful these were and how sleek and small they were and how fast they are to fit. We've left a link in the description, haven't we, Gordon? What does that help us get involved with?
Get in touch with Zaptec if you want to get on board. I guess, you know, if there's an opportunity, I'd be knocking on the door.
Does that mean some sort of electrician sort of partners program, that type of thing? Is that I have to sign up, register, and then I'm a pro installer? Is that the sort of thing?
Yeah, essentially. So we like to collect a few details about potential partners to begin with. It's kind of non-onerous, but we kind of like to make sure we're working with, let's say, quality installers.
Yep.
And again, I'm sure your viewership is very much that. But we collect a little bit of information, and then it's as simple as an online onboarding, which can either be live, which we have them every couple of weeks, or there's actually a pre-recorded one as well. There's a little test at the end. I think you have to get 84% in the test.
Ooh,
I know, which is pretty click, pretty straightforward. And then if you get that, you can become a Zaptec approved installer.
So what we're saying now is obviously I genuinely believe the market's only just started. We're on that first step of the journey. But you quite rightly said, you walk down that street and you're seeing dual EV owners, and maybe there's something that might be in your future. Mrs. R is sniffing around, maybe looking for an EV. You've currently got one. And I look at this EV charger and I've got a second EV, or who knows, in the future a third one. Is there something the Zaptec EV charger can help me out with?
Yeah, I can sell you 2, or I can sell you 3 of them, and they will talk to each other. So they'll load balance between up to 3 Zaptec Go's in a single property.
So I've taken one cable out to the first EV, okay, and I can come off the same cable to a second and a third one without having to upgrade my initial cable. Is that what you're saying? And
no, it would be a separate cable, but they'll load share. They talk to each other essentially.
So explain load share to me.
So they'll share the available power between the chargers that are in use at any one given time.
Because you don't want to blow the main incoming fuse.
Correct.
Okay, thank you very much. So we've seen in this one here, haven't we, where we can have many EV chargers in a row, haven't we, on one, and this one is using the load sharing based on the fact that it knows what the incoming fuse size is.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Yeah.
Super clever stuff, isn't it? And that's something you're probably going to have to tackle yourself in the future, isn't it, Gordon?
Yeah, we've got ambitions for another. Yeah, obviously, it's no going back. I'm not going back to the old oil burner.
No.
So this is it is very simple to install because there's no data connection to it, is it? It's either Wi-Fi or you've got a 4G card.
That's right. It's 4G LTE-M or Wi-Fi connected. Yeah. That's right.
So.
And what do we want? We want it easy, don't we? We want to install it and walk away. We don't want all the hassle. It's all the other bits that become the hassle as well, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's great. So load sharing, something you think is going to come in absolutely when 2 EVs are sitting out the front, isn't it? Yeah.
So keep
just a quick one there, because you said obviously getting a second EV. Does that mean you've got a smart meter in?
No, I haven't got my smart meter yet. No, that's still ongoing. That
How long's that been now?
Oh, it's over a year now, actually.
Why did you take your smart meter out?
Well, the economy was 7 metre out and put in what was supposed to be a smart meter, but it's never worked.
It's a shame, isn't it? I won't bring it up again.
All right, so we've been to the Ombudsman, won the case. It's just
really?
that I was a bulb customer.
Okay.
Obviously now they're transferred. Well, they're now part of Octopus. I'm hoping their legendary customer service is going to happen.
You're hoping you're in at Octopus is going to sort that out.
I have here a list of names I can call. But I think fire your questions in about EV. I know there's loads we can already see in there that we'll come back to. Yeah, but I think we're going to go to the register because the keen-eyed eFIXX viewers have spotted that Guy's got an electrician's plaster on his finger.
Oh, were they? Yeah, yeah, injured earlier.
Which means, obviously, he's undertaking the electrician's challenge. Now, just get not electrician.
Not an electrician. Bled for the cause today, but
any electrical knowledge?
None whatsoever.
Yeah, just
I own screwdrivers.
I have one screwdriver.
Yeah.
It's really old and it's probably been used twice.
Okay.
And probably for opening a tin or something.
As we call it, hoodwinking. So does that mean you're looking for times? Is that what you're suggesting you want at this stage?
Well, we'll go at the register.
Okay, yeah.
And see who's in. We've got lots of comments in. So, Rick, do you want to...
You set a rule, so don't put your times in yet.
Yep. Let's just wait and see.
Let's see. So we're over to the register.
Yep, that time again. I mean, we'll get straight into it now. We've got a lot of returning members as usual, and a few new members which I'll leave for Vic to read out. So let's get started. So we've got Billy Torres, serial prize winner as always. Early years learning is fun. We've got myself, eFIXX. We've got Nick Ramo, Sean Dempsey, Duncan Rolfe, D Small, Boulders, Stephen Skillen, Sergio Fernandez, Matt Marine Eng, Socket, Steve, Troy Boy, James Kane, Leigh Winspear, Bry Tube, Richard Cockerline, Ollie, Daddy B, Pegasus Electrical and Control, and ESCS Limited. Over to you, Rick.
Can you? Right, and today we've got some new members. We've got Wes Thompson, Liam Power Electrical, Persona 250, Morzak EV, Jeff Pearson, Richard Keir, and Big Man. And that's today's register.
He missed Ben Everson out.
Oh, Ben, lovely Ben Everson. We send him stuff just when he doesn't win. We love Ben so much, don't we? We apologise if we didn't get to you on that. We genuinely thank everybody that joins us on the stream, whether it be live or whether it be on catch-up. Remember, keep firing those questions in, and we will get back to whenever you send them, as many as we can. Yeah. So you've jiggled it about this week, haven't you, for the race? Well, you're coming up with a new system.
We've got 3 contestants.
We have got 3 contestants.
And we're going to be live commenting on the challenge.
Just to explain what that live commenting thing is.
We haven't seen it.
No, we haven't.
We saw some attempts, should we say, as we're flying through the Unity. So the first time we're ever going to see it is when we push live soon. We might have been edited down, but with 3 contestants.
Yeah.
So we want in the comments is, well, we need our 3rd guest in, don't we, Gary?
We do. So shall we go and get our 3rd guest? So I think she's all mic'd up so we can have her in. You coming in? Yes. Good start. Drop the microphone. That's not a good start, is it, for tools and stuff? You're going to take my seat. I'm going to jump into the background.
Thank you.
Okay, so this is the team at Zaptec that we've spent a day with. Okay, Here we go.
So we've got Charlotte on the marketing team. Obviously, we've got a guy who is the boss, and we've got Justin who produces all the numbers. So that's the one. So what we want you to do is not just put the time in. We want you to guess who is the fastest between these three candidates and what was the time. And the person, obviously, to get the right person and closer to the time wins a prize.
Oh, you've made it tricky. And we're not going to say what the prize is because we haven't got one out at the moment. Is that the case as usual, Gordon?
It is, and people obviously trigger happy as people put 3 times in but missed out the name. So just to reiterate that, it's the person who you think is the fastest and their time.
Can you just reiterate the names for us and who we got in front of us?
We've got Charlotte.
Yes.
There you go. We've got Justin. And we've got Guy. So there we go. So who looks like they've got the most electrical skill and who's hoodwinking us? And who's got the electrician's plaster on his finger already? Yeah. So I think we've cut to it already, chaps. Let's get going. So, Charlotte's up first.
Okay, so ladies first. I think that's nice and kind of the team to send you out first. And we're back out again. Oh, right, okay. Well, I think we're starting again, are we, Rick? So, yeah, we're starting again. So it surprised everyone. Charlotte's up first. So, Charlotte, how do you think it's going?
I think it looks pretty good.
Yep, so, we got that right.
Here's a new camera angle we've got here. We can see what's going on in the front.
Some very aggressive cable pulls, that was.
Time to look around as well as we're putting the tape on.
I made a joke there. It was really funny.
Right, okay.
It's a shame you couldn't hear it.
You might hear it.
So crucial we get it up first time, so it's up. The conduit, you're coming around a Seco bend, and now we're into our Luden consumer unit. That is a fantastic shot as well, isn't it? We even get a cheeky bit of Rick there in the corner as well. How did you find our wire strippers?
Yeah, I kept putting them in the wrong bit to start with. But yeah, they're really good.
Well, you look like you've got the hang of them now. Okay, so strip the ends and we're into the consumer unit. So 3 attempts. Which do you think was your best attempt?
I maybe the first or last.
First or last. So what was wrong with the middle attempt?
Everything. There I kept putting the cable behind the bit that's supposed to clamp it.
Right.
So I wasted a lot of time there. The first time I couldn't get the screw out of the plug socket, and the last time I did drop the screw.
Shaking there.
And I
look at
was
that.
shaking,
Yeah, that was.
yeah. That's because I'm competitive and I actually do want to
Oh,
win.
you've said those words, competitive. Oh, that's almost like the curse of the installer to say you're competitive, because when your time comes up, we'll be forever saying, do you remember when she came in, she was all competitive on us?
No, I mean, you know, if I lose, I'll lose trying.
Right, okay.
Yeah.
Top answer.
Right, that one. We'll use that.
There's no point in hiding that, you know, I've done my best.
So this does look fast, actually. This is DIY at home. Any DIY?
I dabble.
Dabble.
Dabble. I like a little bit of dabble. Is that painting or electrical work?
Never electrical, but yeah, renovation work, tiling, plastering. I do
right.
paint.
Now everybody's thinking, now you're telling us this, now you're telling us this.
I mean, I don't do anything with wires or screwdrivers, really.
Well, certainly some concentration going on there as we're trying to get those. We're coming down the handle. I like that. You worked your way from the right to the very end. See if we do that. So that's a good tip. So no, we're starting at the end. It's a little different. Yeah. Now,
Well, it's more accurate.
it's easy for us to say, isn't it? Yeah. Okay. That was quick.
Accurate.
So in we go.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're two screws
all
away.
the handles on those screwdrivers there.
Let's see how we do this one. We're going to use.
Oh, there we go. So this was my last one.
No, you've used it properly there. That's all good. This is a decent effort. You should be, guys, you're sitting there watching this, and Guy as well. And so you're, this is pressure's on. Pressure's on. Yeah, great effort. Wow, we're straight into the second one, Gordon. Wow, so here we are. Justin's up. Oh, look at this. One hand. Pretty
That's
flash.
as good as it gets.
No, that's a great start to be doing. That's Cowboys. Look at
That's a lot of tape.
Wow, that's someone's used a reel of tape
Tape
before.
we've seen ever.
Yeah.
That's straightening technique there.
Wasting plastic, but we won't go into that.
Oh, we haven't got the front off. Okay, great start.
Going that way.
Here we go. So,
Premature with the cable.
Yeah.
but it was ready. Oh, still going at it.
Right in there.
It's the end bit you need to be straight more than anything else, is it? Love it. Justin's round Lasico bend and into the Luden consumer unit. This is a good start. So let's see what face cam brings us this time for delights. So
You know what? I already think you're quicker than me because my bit there got sped up.
Shh, you're spoiling it for everyone. Second protective conductor goes in. This is good again. We're using the handle of the screwdriver. Concentration. Yeah. Which go do you think this is, Justin, of your three?
It better be the middle one, because I think the other two, I would have dropped the screwdriver at least twice.
Yeah.
Well, it's a hearty effort. That's the consumer unit finish. So we're down to the socket outlet there. Pretty long.
Plenty of spare there.
Yeah, absolutely.
That man will be happy again this week. He always likes to come around on a Thursday, get in early. There's a bit of spare copper. You haven't got shares in Doncaster Cable, have you?
The reels are weak.
Yeah. Now they're especially long as well. It's going to be good.
How
This
did you fit it in?
Some chunky wristwatch everyone spotted as well, and there's a lot of gold hanging on that wrist. Look at that. Yeah.
last year's sales bonus.
Yeah. Look at that.
Not saying a word. It was a birthday present.
So connecting up, this is looking good. You know, from the edit, I can't pick a winner out of the first two, so maybe we're saving the best till last. We'll find out when Guy turns up.
Wouldn't have said so.
Yeah, talking it down, that's always a sign of somebody very competitive. That wristwatch is really hampering
Now
you.
we're going to get all them. Oh, we've got them in. Right, there's the screw.
Oh, we're down the shaft.
Yep.
Takes a bit of editing there. That one's already in, unless it was push fit. So, okay. That's good.
It's magic.
We've got to roll straight into the next one. Guys, up next. There we go again.
Wow. So you'll notice I don't have the large wristwatch because no bonus, no wristwatch. So
No screw, no floor.
screw, yeah. And the main issue really was a complete lack of knowledge and skill and talent. So
Don't tie yourself down.
So,
just getting him in early.
going for twisting? You're going for tape
Twisting.
as well?
Twisting and tape.
All
A bit of
right.
tip.
Yeah.
A bit of both. We've got some encouragement in the background there. Yeah, everyone's laughing at
It
you.
wasn't encouragement at all.
Yeah, it was.
I'm not going to say it sort of hampered
Is it gonna be a
my
first
performance,
attempt?
but
Right, we're up. That's a good start. Okay. Wow, that was aggressive. Game face on into the consumer unit.
Oh, look
Yeah,
how much
look
that
at
was.
this.
Flying along.
People might call me heavy-handed, but
You call yourself competitive?
I would say yes.
Yeah.
Okay. We want to know is if you're a good loser.
Walking off, mate.
So there we go. Protective conductor in. This is looking pretty rapid. Obviously, I think there's a whiff of you know how to use a screwdriver. I think you're trying to play it down a little bit. Oh, there's one on the floor.
Do own over 5 screwdrivers, so
Well, there you go. It's a collection.
I own a little one, which is why I think I
Like
Have a
it,
crack
used
at-
it at the end.
talking it in as well. Right.
here we
Pop
go.
it in. That's- Look at
10 stairs.
Yeah, I know.
I feel like this might be my first go.
Yeah.
I think I was fastest.
plaster.
Your face.
Yeah, no plus. You might notice I am bleeding at this point, yeah.
Does that help you
Back.
suggest?
Focuses the mind.
Okay. These strippers are immense, though, aren't they? Yeah, they are good. They do save a lot of effort for the non-electrician.
First time I've ever tried them, I did like them.
Yeah, there we go.
It's good fun, this.
Scrambling around for a few tools. Well, we'll find out. We'll see how much fun it is when the times are revealed, won't we? So still banging those times in when we're trying to find the contestant that was fastest and the nearest time. So there's nothing in the edit here. I wouldn't know who's got the quickest time here. So what you lost now, Guy? There we go.
Yeah. I do have fingers like sausages as well, so that's an additional excuse.
Oh, fumbled. Yeah, oh, dear, juggling it around. So we're back in with the screwdriver dropped on the floor. So couple of connections away and we are done. Nobody used the stool, nobody used their teeth. So we didn't have any fun and games with the additional, oh, we're down the screwdriver. Look at that, eh? Look at that. Wow.
I mean, I'd obviously seen somebody.
Oh,
The blood.
oh, he's injured. Probably stabbed that screwdriver in his hand, he was using it wrong. Okay, so there we go.
Boats,
Bit of
swimming.
showboating.
Claret.
Well, that was fun. Yeah.
Fun
was
is a
fun.
is a word we could use, yeah.
Yeah.
I enjoyed it.
Challenging. Do you appreciate the life of the installer now?
I'd like to try some other challenges.
Some other challenges.
Absolutely.
I might become an installer.
Oh, there we go. It's so easy.
Sorry.
There's nothing our audience likes more than, you could go on a 6-week course apparently and become fully qualified. But you can't anymore, can you?
Oh, well, I think you said after you finished your first run, you said, I think that's it now, I'm qualified, I know I could do this at home. I was like, it takes a little bit more than that. So we got some times, Gordon. We got any?
Got some people struggling with the concept because we always were changing things
Yeah, we
around.
are.
But
Liven it
time
up a
to
little
fire them in. Who you think is the fastest out of the three? So plenty of people.
Are we going to try and give them a
Mighty thin.
give them a few another minute or so to get them in? Because I think they'll be finishing off there. Shall we say?
Well, there's some insulting ones here because someone's got Crumpus has got Justin down at 15 minutes. So that's not very nice.
Probably a bit on the quick side.
And,
Justin looks tall sitting down as well. Doesn't he?
We've got Guy in there.
14,
Good effort. Let's
54.
just see what they're combined. Justin 5:55. Justin 4:56.
Wow.
Charlotte 5:40. Yeah. Guy 8 minutes 14.
That's probably more exact.
There you
In
go.
fairness, that's probably the closest.
Yeah. So would we say as a consensus that thinks that Justin was the fastest before we
People
go?
seem to be thinking it's Justin, closely followed by Guy.
Oh,
Just good editing.
I think Charlotte.
Won't take it
actually.
personally.
I mean, I was here.
Yeah.
Well, let's have a look. I've hidden the cards up here, so I'll just have to refresh myself. Ooh.
We're going to start with Gordon.
Ooh.
Is it close?
It is close. Yeah, it is.
Happy with close. Are we all on the board?
You're on the board. That's the good news. You're not over there with Carl
I'm happy with that.
behind you there. So you're on the board. Now, to get on the board these days, you've got to be above 8:31. Now, non-electrician territory sort of starts mid-board here. So we'll start with you, Guy. Actually, you did this in 6 minutes 17.
Ooh, above Rick.
Ooh, which is actually 1 second slower than Nick Ramo.
Oh, I'm in a WhatsApp group with him. Hi, Nick.
So he is on, yep.
So I'm in one with him as well, God. You get a lot of messages as well.
Yeah.
He'll be delighted
It's a
about
big
that
group.
one. Yeah. So, Justin, this is.
Oh, here he
this
goes,
is gonna
the
cause
favourite.
A bit of company challenges here. You did it in 6 minutes 14. So there's nothing like being a few seconds faster than the
17.
boss.
Oh, well done, Justin.
So
Good effort.
I'm going to have to rearrange the board down here.
Okay. So
I'm happy with that.
above Rick again. How happy do you feel? Because most people want to be above Rick, don't they?
Oh, well, I mean, I'm just happy that I'm on that side and not that side, to be fair.
Yeah.
I was expecting worse.
Just nice to be out in it.
Oh, yeah.
But the surprise here, are you ready for this? So Charlotte, you did this in not 5 minutes, 4 minutes and 46 seconds.
Wow. That's in there. Look at that.
Mid-April.
Professional footballer Stephen Smith gets beaten again.
Yeah. And just for the record, Stephen Smith, EV Comply, founder, former electrician. So that is a great result.
Yeah.
Incredible. Well done.
Happy with that.
There you go. Maybe you should be an electrician after that.
Maybe.
Applications for the Zaptec marketing manager job, should anyone be interested, please send to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, on that, I think we need a little break after that fun. We're going to cut across to our sneak peek, which is EV related. Now, obviously, one of the contentious issues out there is meter boxes, and can you put consumer units in them?
No.
We're not going to quite touch on that quite yet, but there's a product that could help you out, depending on your fit on the fence. It's time for another sneak peek where we go behind the scenes of some of the full product reviews that we've got coming up on the channel. And tonight's product is a new outdoor consumer unit from eFIXX EV.
God, that's really difficult for a mature electrician like I am to be thinking that we'll be installing a consumer unit on the outside of a building. So what's the thinking behind that?
Well, trying to copy the Australians, Gary. I think they put all their consumer units outside. I'm sold, and there's lots of scary spiders in there. But talking of outside the box, it's also outside the meter box. So let's take a closer look at what we've done here. So it's great that you've even recreated the sound of rain, Gary, so we can put this application in context. So the consumer unit itself, die-cast aluminium, so built to withstand the rigours of the English weather, which obviously includes a lot of rain, and to go with that IP65 rating. How does it get the rating? Flip open the cover. We've got a nice gasket seal around the circuit breakers. This one's got a double pole RCBO in there, obviously selecting the type of protection depending on what the charger needs, but most manufacturers tend to recommend a type A upstream. Also got surge protection in there, which again, you know, most of these installs will be going onto existing dwellings where I'd say 99% haven't got surge protection, and most EV charge point manufacturers are recommending that you install that as well.
Okay, so that's nice. It's slipped into there, and the colour's beautiful as well. They use the grey here, which matches the eFIXX EV grey insert on their charging units as well.
Yeah, so selling it as a system, but obviously we think obviously lots of charge points can benefit from this. One thing I like about it is the lid that sort of naturally closes when you drop it. So a lot of plastic consumer units, that doesn't happen. So there's very little chance of that being accidentally left open. So great, robust design. Again, compact. They also do an indoor version. So I'm going to open the meter box here.
I don't know what's happening now.
And there's our indoor version. Now, not that I'm suggesting that you would ever put this inside the meter box. We're not going to go into that too deeply in this segment here. But this one is intended to go inside the house, not the meter box, I would suggest, because it's a little bit cosy getting stuff in there.
Same arrangement inside.
So again, yep, same arrangement. And obviously white is more obviously pleasing for the house. Actually, if you check out the review we did of the eFIXX EV charger, we actually did install that inside a house at the time because yeah, we didn't know where it was going at the time, but that was hidden in the box, so hidden in the meter cupboard, so not the meter cupboard, the meter under the stairs where the meter goes.
Wow, that was a Freudian slip where you'd smuggled one of the outside ones into the meter box, which obviously we didn't do. But there is a lot going on in here. We've got the Henley blocks and we've got our main switch there. Obviously the temptation is without a main switch is obviously cut the seals on the cutout, isn't it?
Yeah, now we have touched on that in a recent news item because the rules are going to change about that soon. Now, obviously it'd be interesting if you put in the comments whether you're someone who just goes in and removes the seal and pulls the main fuse to do your install, or do you get an isolator fitted, obviously, as you should do. But the rules on that are going to change. There's going to be something called Safe Isolation Providers coming out, which is a separate company who you can contract to fit the isolator switch or just do the fuse disconnection.
We used a double stacked Henley block here, but you come up with a good idea, a good suggestion. Obviously it's going to take a big moving of thought to get to it. That switch could have two connections on the bottom of it, couldn't it?
Yeah, well this Henley block takes up a massive amount of room. You know, I mean, that, and they say, okay, this is reserved for customers' connections.
So consumer units then?
Yeah, well, yeah, not consumer units.
You nearly went there, didn't you?
But I thought, yeah, wouldn't it be a great idea, and not, you know, too difficult to do on these switch isolators here, to have 2 sets of terminals at the bottom. Now, they don't need to be fully sized for 25mm tails, because for our EV charge point here, I've used 10mm. I would have used 6 if I could have done, but they didn't have it at the wholesalers, because you say you don't need the 25. And I'd suggest you'd struggle to wrestle 25mm into this, but I did. I was out on site the other day with Lee from Zaptec EV, and he was fitting a meter for a solar install in a modified version of the garage board that BG make in the same footprint. Wow, that's ambitious. 25mm tails, isn't it?
2 lots, in and out.
And apparently he's managed it.
Well, he's still probably there trying to wrestle the 25mm tails into it, but good luck to him if he can do it when you don't need to, do you? So those 10mm ones are adequate and they go through there. I notice also you've brought through the data connection as well. That's cleverly come through from the cable that fed this BG consumer unit as well, didn't it?
Yeah, so that's the EV Ultra cable, so we stripped back a metre of that to give us enough data cable to go into the enclosure, back out down the flexible conduit and in there, and then I've just made a heat shrink joint. There's a great short showing how I did that coming out soon, so watch out for that, and then we can get that onto our meter tails.
And when you talk about shorts, we've actually done 4 in total, showing you how we made the full install of this BG outdoor consumer unit. So every aspect of that is covered in videos that you can also pick up on the channel.
Yeah, and I'm sure people will have opinions on that, and we always look forward to those opinions, Gary.
So the full review be out at the weekend when we've put out either Saturday or Sunday of the BG consumer unit, where you take a deep dive into it and all the features. Also created some short videos as well, haven't we, on it?
There is, yeah, obviously, yeah, people can chip in and see some of the things we did, things on like the current transformer and things like that we did in there. And some people have already asked the question on this thing of safe isolation providers.
Yes.
Coming down. And will electricians be able to qualify? There's one, no, I think is the one. So we know there's one DNO that lets people who are approved remove the seal and do their own safe isolation, but most of them don't. And there's going to be this new system from June this year. And that's going to be interesting to see how that plays out.
We hear it all the time, don't we? I cut the seals, I won't do that. Yeah, I cut the seals. And okay, yeah, so I'm not condoning any of this. It's some sort of resealing I want to see, because it takes no tool or skill or key to undo it, does it? You can just pull that fuse out, and imagine some of those ones we've seen at the front of a terraced house. And we said before, child's been watching the electrician all day, pulling out the fuse. They've gone away and they think, well, if I pull this out, the telly and and they can put the fingers in there. At least seal it back up. Yeah, if you're going to cut them, reseal it. Okay, you wouldn't leave the front off a socket outlet, would you?
Yeah, but that was in the news a few weeks ago. We put a link to the documents. They're pretty heavy weather to read them. Yeah. But it's going to be interesting to see if it actually changes anything.
And we'll keep up to date. If you watch the news, that every Monday, isn't it? We do a weekly news programme. It doesn't matter when you catch up with it, but we put all those topics in, as well as all the exciting stuff happening in the industry. No doubt we could have had a breaking story that the pen fault protection was in the Zaptec EV charger. Those sort of stories get broke every Monday. So yeah, it's really good.
That's it. So I'm going to dig through.
But that's question time. Yeah, I think so. We're going to announce a prize. We'd like to say that maybe some of the other members of the team put some bits in the chat to confuse people. It was the person's name and their time, and we've managed to find somebody very close to it. Yeah. So we'll be issuing a prize in a little while for the race wall.
Yeah, and if you didn't, then.
Yeah, the key thing is to listen to what we said. So that would have been the instructions. Yeah, that's how you enter. Okay, so questions. Let's have some great, because there's a prize for the best question.
Interesting one. Yeah, congratulations team for taking it on. It was from Zaptec EV, I think, and Nick Ramo. Obviously, us standing around behind him makes people nervous, apparently, when you're doing these challenges.
Were we in the room when you did the challenges?
Only me at the end.
You came last.
Yeah, exactly. Well, case in point.
We weren't in the room. That was the first time I'd seen any of the race walls as well when they came through. That was coming through live. So
yeah. So we have got one winner on that, haven't we? Who was we did?
Well, let's find out. Let's turn it over to our tame presenters. Oh, them two instead.
Yeah, so sorry about that. A little bit confused, but we have got a winner. So Charlotte's time was 4 minutes 46, and the closest who guessed that Charlotte was the winner, and her time was Matt Marine aimed with 4 minutes 30. So obviously, you might go to the link in the description. Get involved, fill out the form, and we'll get the prize out to you soon.
That's good. And that's in the Get Involved tab below. If you fill out that form, then yeah, we'll get the post out within something like 28 weeks.
Good to see. 2023, we would not, I know Joe offered to improve, but we're not certain we have yet, are we? So we apologise. If nothing else, you've got shouted out on the telly, so well done to you for winning. Let's go through some of these questions then. Let's see if we can catch somebody out.
Someone put a joke in. Why does the Norway Navy have barcodes on the side of their ships? So they can Scandinavian.
Right, stand the Navy in.
Yeah.
I love it. Yeah. It's the way you deliver it as well, Gordon.
Yeah.
Absolutely timed it to perfection.
Well, that's clearly ruined for that, really. So.
So this is the bloke that goes to the Canned Fish Museum. Okay, so questions then. So we're going
wall connector installed inside a building, e.g. garage. Does this have to comply with PEN? Well, we did a Q&A on that, actually.
Yeah. The problem is, so if you put the EV charger in a garage, can you guarantee that the person maybe would pull up to the garage is full of maybe something for a festive season or some furniture because friends across the road are moving, and then obviously, so the answer to that would be no for me. However, if you're installing one in a college setting, you're fine, because that's only going to be in a college setting. So when I delivered all your ones, it was fantastic.
And someone said, yeah, someone's got two EVs, a Tesla Y and a Mini SE. So there you go. Clearly another EV installer tuning into the channel.
Okay. Anything on the two charging system?
Yeah, well, that is the game changer for them.
Yeah.
I think that's a really simple solution for two EVs.
Yeah.
Lots of 2 EV households in Norway, so obviously that's what the product is designed for.
Yeah, there we go. Not only got one car, they've got 2 EVs. Is there anything different about EVs, the infrastructure in Norway?
They have more chargers sort of per EV, and we've got some way to catch up. But no, essentially not. You see them many more places and much more mix of charging, AC, DC. But I think in fairness, they're probably 4 or 5 years ahead in front of us, both in terms of EV adoption and in terms of infrastructure. But the basis remains pretty much the same. We're just catching up, if you like.
Yeah. They didn't invent any special Norwegian regulations to keep out of the...
Not that I know of, no.
Yeah.
No. Just sort of subsidised it as well as they could.
Yeah, and I guess it's paid off.
It's just a mindset. You know, people who are thinking about it, you surely could just write down how many miles you do in a day. And just write that down and work out the capacity of the car that you're thinking of buying. And then it might be a bit like your phone. You have to charge it every day, your phone. Even though when you initially get a phone, you can probably do a couple of days, kind of. If you put the screen lower down, you might get to 3 days, but nobody ever does. We charge our phone every day, and we've got no issues with that. Car's the same, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, the average UK mileage is something like 142 miles a week across all of the UK, 32.4 million cars or whatever we got on the road. So for most people, actually, an EV is perfectly fit. And my personal view, and everybody in the EV industry has got a different view, but mine is it will become, as you just kind of said, it will be that grazing approach to charging. The same as it is with your mobile. You'll charge a little at home, you'll charge a little at work, a little at the shopping centre, a little here, a little there, all these things. And I think that's where we will get to long term when the infrastructure is in place.
Yeah, absolutely. Totally agree with that. Yeah.
Now, this is a good question, and we've touched on a little bit on the channel. Is anything on vehicle to home or vehicle to grid in the pipeline?
Yes,
right.
Actually there is.
Right.
And somewhere on YouTube, elsewhere, if you click around, you will see a video of this Zaptec Pro unit, which is ISO 15118 compatible. So that's the standard.
That's what I would have said. I would have jumped in there if you...
Yeah, obviously, yeah. So that is the standard that allows vehicle to grid and different communication between the charger and the car, if you like. So there's a piece of hardware in there that makes it ISO 15118 compatible, and we demonstrated that this does work as a solution with a Porsche Taycan back in, I think, October in Germany at a trade show. So yes, this unit today, this Pro, is essentially vehicle to grid compatible.
As long as the Porsche Taycan.
As long as you own a Porsche Taycan, exactly. So we're waiting for the cars.
Like you're going to find anyone like that.
It's another example of the future proofing that we try to build into the tech.
Right, so that's the conversion happening in the car.
Correct.
Back to AC, then through the charger, and then back up to the grid.
Yeah, and things like plug and charge. So that is effectively where your car becomes your wallet. So you don't tap any cards.
I've got a wife.
You don't use.
So what's the car now to my wallet? So hang on a second. Well. So unpack that. So my car becomes my wallet.
Plug and charge. Yeah. So instead of tapping a card or using an app to unlock a charge point and pay for a charge,
right?
You simply plug your car in, and your car identifies this is Gary's car. I've got this much in my bank account, and I'll pay for X, Y, Z charging on this charger.
Wow.
So it's all built into the car.
So just physically walk up, plug it in, and then move yourself into the area where you can get I don't know, bicarbonated beverage.
Anything you want, exactly.
Wow. Wow,
That's the future.
That's the future.
And is it here now?
Again, the Taycan, which...
So how many people own a Porsche? That's the problem, isn't it?
Yeah,
if we all owned a Porsche, we'd all be all right. That's the moral of the
All I'm
story.
saying is everybody
all the
buy a
Porsche
Taycan.
owners, please leave a comment below. Yeah.
It's one of those trickle-down technologies. It does start essentially with the expensive vehicles, but then it moves down quite
We're
quickly.
talking Porsche, though, aren't we?
Yeah, but we saw it with rapid EV charging. For a while, there were only very expensive vehicles that could charge at 100 kilowatts, whereas now it's relatively accessible that a lot of much more cost-effective vehicles can charge really quick.
But that's not, you're not driving like a thief there. You're not just plugging in free power. It's obviously charged to an account, and then you pick up the tab. It's like a big. It's when they brought contactless in. Yeah, you have a big night out on contactless, going around the town, tapping around on the bar, treating everyone to drinks. That's only when you get back in the morning and start looking at your bank account. Ooh, that was a big night out.
That's a story that obviously Gordon wasn't the person tapping the card. He must have witnessed someone doing that, because he would have never have stepped forward for that. So that's good. So that's I like that. That's really clever, because you just want it, don't you? You want to just and get on with the rest of it. You don't want to be getting maybe endless amounts of Zap map apps or equivalent of, isn't it? What else do you use?
Octopus Electric Juice, one map, one app.
Yeah.
I can't remember the best bit that Martin Lee comes out with.
Yeah,
but there you go.
but there's several of them, isn't there? To go around, it would be great when you just plug in, walk away.
Yeah.
But you've got to own a Porsche to do that.
Well, I think give it a few years and it will be
We'll all own Porsches.
becoming more... essentially, that's what I'm saying.
The Ionity network is one of the ones. They're one of the biggest advanced high-speed chargers, isn't it? Some of it's flown down from that as well. They've been quite up there with...
Okay, pretty clever. Keep feeding the comments. Have we got any decent comments coming in, team? Is there anything you want to flash up on the board, or we can come up, because you've got to come up with the best one. Remember, you're searching your way through trying to find us the best comment of the evening.
Yeah, well, people are right. Said, so Tesla have been doing a variant of plug and charge for 10 years, but obviously it's only if you're a Tesla with a Tesla charger, which is obviously...
Explain that to me then, because obviously you got your charge for free because you were very early adopter, didn't you? When you charged away from home, you never paid as long as it was a Tesla charger.
We knew you wouldn't pay, but now you have an account and you plug in, it knows where you're at and stuff like that, and you can be obviously the charge if you've overstayed and things like that.
So you turn up with a Tesla, plug it in, and it would know your car was identified to you?
Yeah.
Right, okay.
And that's... but it makes life a lot easier. You've got to think there's a lot of complicated stuff for EV drivers. Say you've got a company car and you're charging at home and doing company miles. Well, you don't want to be raking through your electricity bill saying, well, I had 10 kilowatts for the company car and I used a bit myself. It becomes quite complicated.
All right, okay. Yeah, all things I thought
back to vans, you see a lot of companies going fully EV in their van fleet, like Mighty and people like that, where they have chargers at the sites they look after. Mighty, a big facilities management company. So
that's a good point. So if you work for a company where they provide you an electric van, you work all day and you come home, you're going to want the company to pay to charge their vehicle up, aren't you?
Yeah.
So there's another. What you don't want to start doing then is having that vehicle parked at a main depot and you using maybe a fossil fuel car. Yeah, you sort of lots of good points here we haven't come up with before.
Obviously, it gets really interesting when vehicle to grid comes along, because you charge at work and then drive that battery home and use it for your own.
Yeah, only the bloke that didn't tap everyone on the bar would know that, wouldn't he? Yeah, the same bloke there raking through everyone else's. That's funny how we've got a 3-phase EV charger here at Lineside Studios, isn't it? When only one battery car. Similar, isn't it? But rather than just fill up your car at work. Interesting.
Yeah, but it's tech. I mean, that's I guess a lot of EV chargers all look the same. I mean, I'm not about the gorgeous looks. I'm on about they're a socket in a box and electrical connection. But it's all that stuff that's going on underneath the lid that's going to make the difference. So, or future-proofing, should we call it as well? That's the problem, because you look at some of you've got all these safety features in now. Previous generations didn't, and can you upgrade? Can you upgrade these? That's the one. Do you do the over-the-air updates?
It does do that automatically, yeah. So from a software firmware point of view, it will always upgrade for as long as you're using it.
Right, okay, clever. Yeah. Really good stuff.
Justin, what are the developers saying when you do this? Now, obviously, and I know I've already seen it in the comments, obviously, some developers, you won't believe, just put the cheapest product in.
Wow. Having worked with developers for quite a while, I'm not surprised to hear that, and I've experienced that myself. The good news is that Zaptec is also extremely competitively priced. It's just seen to be a really good fit for the UK developer market. It's really easy for the installer, which helps. The developer gets a lot of confidence from that. It's a fit and forget technology with the 5-year guarantee, which helps them as well, because normally it's just a 2-year workmanship sort of guarantee that the installer would have. We're covering that for a further 3 years. Developers can't get that anywhere else. So they're really buying into the product, buying into the company, buying into all of its features in a big way.
Mm-hmm. I'll take it on a new property then, you can leave it fully installed and commissioned, can't you? You haven't got to worry about the fact that the tenant hasn't come in and got any internet either, have you?
Absolutely. The 4G LTE is a big game changer compared to a lot of other products that are out there. Certainly others that I've sold in the past. This covers that really well. Unoccupied properties, as you said, commission it without having to have broadband or wait for the tenant to do what they're doing.
That makes sense, because it's usually going to be the person in the one property that's the last one to be sold, where the show home is. They'll be point of contact to every single new person moving in. Well, I now want my EV charger to work. They're going in and trying to reboot routers and try and pair stuff up. Yeah, no, it's good that it's left and ready to go. Here we go then.
Richard's want the price already.
Wow, okay. Ballpark, if you're going to give one.
Ballpark? Oh, you'll have to contact me after this. My phone will be off the hook, I know, but...
Is that because obviously, depending on where we're going, there'll be different
In fairness,
discounts
I'm slightly tongue-in-cheek with that. A lot of our pricing is down to volumes. So when I'm talking to developers, if they're committing to higher volumes, then the price obviously fluctuates. But it'd be difficult to just say one price and then everyone expects that price when they're an installer as compared to being a developer.
Yeah. So. And also we work with a lot of our installers direct, so even if they'll commit to something like 25, 50 or more units a year, they'll start to access some fairly good volume discounts as well. So
that goes back to link in the description, where if you want to get involved in the program, you can fill in your details and start that process. Yeah, that's really good. So here we go.
Static or dynamic load management. So yeah, essentially, as I said, these 3 chargers can talk to each other and essentially statically load balance. If you're in a domestic setting with 3 Zaptec Go's, this Zaptec Pro, and eFIXX did do a great video on it last year. This Zaptec Pro has static and dynamic load management. Equally, it has phase rotation, so it's one of the only chargers on the market that also balances power across 3 phases.
And how many can you have on one supply?
Technically unlimited.
Yeah.
Technically, I would advise perhaps 30 on a single circuit, but that's just a kind of a point of advice.
Yeah.
So when you say phase rotation, obviously a lot of car chargers are single phase, and the charger's in the car, isn't it? And they're all wired to the same phase.
Correct.
And I know I spoke to someone on a large university campus where I think a load of Nissan Leaf owners turned up one day, and.
Yep.
I think they melted the neutral on the supply because all of the...
Very out of balance. Yeah, makes sense.
So yeah, as with this, if you do get the Nissan Leaf Owners Club turn up at your place of business...
Your canned fish
yeah, exactly. Should you be the owner of a canned fish museum and the Nissan Leaf Owners Club all en masse decides to charge, then this would automatically balance all of those leaves. Leaves.
I like leaves.
Leaves. All of the leaves would be balanced across the 3 phases by that, and that's all done in the cloud.
Yeah.
That's good. Yeah,
and you can hear it, you can do a test on it. There's a little relays, do a little clicky thing.
You did do it a few times, didn't
you? Over the power line.
Yeah, absolutely.
It was, so that was clever on that. So, yeah. So what does the future look like? What's next? What's the next bit?
Well, the next bit is to sell lots and lots and lots of these chargers and work with the best installers in the business, obviously, the people that are watching this. After that, I mean, we have certainly further technical developments coming down the line, but as I said over the curry, I'm going to have to keep a little bit tight-lipped on that. But I'll say, the Norwegians have always been a leader in tech, and certainly Zaptec are certainly going to continue that.
Right. Okay. Multi-socketed, single-unit domestic EV charger coming your way, surely. That'll be my guess. I don't know what you're pitching in, Gordon. That's what you want, isn't it? Yeah. Yes.
Right angle cable. Yeah, that's what I want. Yeah, if anyone can find me a cable, because obviously when you've got one of these chargers on the wall, all the cables that come out of them, stick out like this. You end up with the cable sticking out here. I want a little right angle one, like you get RJ45 sockets with a right angle.
Gordon's next business, I think.
Yeah, it's quite a chunky bit of kit to turn at an angle, though, isn't it? Yeah, compared to your RJ45. So yeah, okay, that's good.
Solve it. But that's I mean, we're looking forward to that. I think we're going to do a review of that soon. If we get one.
We are.
And we'll see. We might have to hand it over to Rapid Ross to see how fast he can fit it.
Yeah, because
we're not going to hand it over.
I'm
to
sure
Zaptec unless Charlotte's going to step along for that.
Well, yeah, I would say we could ask Rick, but he'd be the fourth fastest out of anyone that's taken on the race floor here today. So it's all good stuff. So. Thinking of different people maybe that are installing EV, maybe they're in the solar world, maybe they're out there just doing a fantastic commercial, industrial jobs, etc. Got the eFIXX Awards, haven't we, Gordon, that's coming to sort of end at the end of the month. Link is in the description.
Yes.
Where you can nominate your own business. Maybe you're that brilliant EV installer. Maybe you're in the commercial space. You've got some amazing projects. We had another one in this week that looked fantastic. You can nominate yourself or someone else, can't you, that you think deserves to be nominated for an eFIXX Award.
So close next Tuesday. We've had loads of entries in for 30 under 30.
We have.
And obviously the business categories, but I think there's probably some better ones out there as well. I mean, we love reading the entries because it's great. Some of these companies were followed for a long time.
Yeah.
People post some great work on Instagram, or some people keep it secret, but and people often ask on awards, Gary.
How do you win?
Well, some people say they never win.
What would that be?
Because they never enter.
That's the one, isn't it? Yeah. And I think that was a real one, refreshing one for 30 to 31st year round. I think it was like, well, yeah, we'll nominate. And then the absolute euphoria. We nearly had red wine all over the place, didn't we? When was it Neo Electrical won his award? Yes. So again, you can only win if you enter. You can only give yourself a ticket to the dance if you make, was it 5 minutes to fill a form in?
5 minutes fill a form, yeah. We'll do. Yeah, once we'll obviously be raking over your social media, delving into your company's house accounts and all that stuff. We'll do
Made
all
in
that.
your privacy.
That's the information. But yeah, if you know any great installers out there, you're working for a great installer. There's someone on your team who's young, we had some really quite interesting backstories to how people got into the industry last year. We're looking forward to get that. So you're nearly there. On that, another few days before they close.
Yeah, and again, it doesn't mean that you didn't enter in the first week of the awards or the last week of the awards. It won't make a blind bit of difference to when your entry comes in. You'll be judged on the criteria that's available for you. That's a great process to go through as well.
I think now, Gary, it's time for a new segment. Or you did the segment last week, but you've handed it over.
Yeah, so we've had the great pleasure. So we're always trying to shell jobs here, haven't we? If we can find 2 new presenters for this, we could sit out tonight. So we got one step forward, didn't we? So we've got a new presenter going to be doing a Caught Off Camera, which seems to be starring you this week, but not actually the star of the show, because the star of the show is our very own Joe.
So Gordon, you've been on site with Nick Rainbow this week, filming for eFIXX Energy. Oh wait, Nick, get on the pavement!
Someone has a real thirst for fresh orange juice. I'm about to be ran over by a UPS van and Nick Ramos stood on the pavement.
Well, that is what happens when you're standing in the middle of the road. Anyway, I've been trying to get to grips with this Philips Hue app and I'm really having trouble getting to know all of the features. I was just wondering if you can help me understand a few of them.
But in the Hue system, these become more than just light switches. You can select scenes, dim lights up and down, but even program in the app exactly what that switch does, the order of your scenes, and other stuff that I can't remember. So.
Well, Gordon, that really wasn't so helpful, but hopefully you can help me on the automation side of things. I've been trying to get Alexa to work, and I was just wondering if you need a command.
But perhaps the best way to start using a smart lighting system is to add automation. Now, automation comes in lots of different ways, from voice assistants that are built into everything like TVs.
So Gordon, I'll help you out a little bit. The command is Alexa, turn off all the lights.
Alexa, turn off the lights. That didn't work, did it?
Not far off. You're just missing that one vital word. Alexa, turn off all the lights.
Alexa.
Yeah, and the rest.
Alexa, turn off all the lights.
That was great, Gordon. And you know it also works in reverse.
Alexa, turn on all the lights.
Well, we got there in the end. Now, Gary and Gordon, you've really not let me live down this event, despite the fact that it happened over a year ago.
So what happens when a member of your team drops their phone down a chemical toilet at a music festival?
Well, we all make mistakes, don't we? Gordon, may I just remind you of the time that you reversed into Gary's brand new eFIXX van? moving on, I think we should just let the past be the past. Joe, how are you getting on with that new video?
So again there, Joe, we'll be able to bring in like the covers of those books and stuff to cover over me being rubbish.
Joe, is that you admitting you're not quite up to scratch there?
Oh no, I was fine there. The teleprompter lost me.
That's right, Joe. Just blame the teleprompter. I really think you could learn a thing or two from a seasoned veteran. Maybe a sort of David Attenborough type presenter. Speaking of David Attenborough, let's have a look at this next clip.
So here we have two former college lecturers back in their natural environment, the workbench, clearly confused by the modern living and technology which doesn't involve an incandescent lamp. You can see their puzzled look as they try to decipher the instructions and think, well, actually, how do we connect this up? Gary somehow debates this, but Joe is still utterly confused, refusing to believe his master's voice.
Personally, I think David Attenborough would make a great addition to the team. What with his grey hair, and he's the perfect age for the job. Now Gordon, you always pride yourself on knowing exactly what tools are for. Can you tell me what this is, please?
eFIXX, what do they call this again? I can't remember what the bloody call. Super nips, that's it.
Fantastic. Well, yeah, brilliant. So first time out, almost one take. He called himself one take, didn't he? He said, well, this is easy. I just did it in one take. So as he's taking the mickey out of the amount of takes we've had, obviously he's crushing it on the way through. However, Gordon hasn't set up another person for a fall today, so I'm going to have to set myself up for one, and I'm going to lead into it in the next one. So your Tesla came into us today. We love a Tesla story. Is it in one piece, your Tesla, on the journey that you took to us, Justin, today?
99.9%.
What happened to it on the route?
A rock hit my screen.
Okay.
I say a rock, I over-exaggerate. It was probably a pebble, but it did make a big crack.
Sure.
And I've got to wait a week for the guys to come and fix it.
And talking to Guy, anything happened to your vehicle in the last 24 hours?
I was just going to Justin called me and said a massive boulder had hit his windscreen is actually what he said. Yes, I suffered a cracked wing mirror in the last 24 hours, and I'm also driving a car that was previously crashed, not by me, so is also in need of repair at the moment. So.
Yeah, so being an owner of a fossil-fuelled vehicle, I do not become susceptible to anything other than immaculate driving. Insert Gordon.
Yeah, what's those lines on the road, motorway? Sometimes you're on the motorway, two sort of traffic lanes merge and they sort of put some hashes across them.
You mean the chevrons?
Chevrons, yeah.
So what you got to remember that. So when you look, and it's been a long while, 17, when I thumbed my way through a paper-based, believe it or not, they used to have paper-based things, and the chevrons were meant to be the equivalent of a concrete barrier. Right. So rather than building a concrete between those to prevent people from changing lanes, they used the chevroned areas. So you have to think of them as being concrete. So when you're driving your vehicle, you certainly don't strain it. You wouldn't ride into a load of concrete on the A1, would you?
Yeah, so I think I was on the phone to you at the time.
You were?
Yeah.
There was an irate policeman driving by the side.
Shouting at you.
Well, he was. I initially didn't think he was shouting at me because I was like, oh my word, that bloke is properly angry. I wonder what's happened here. I kept moving further and further towards the hard shoulder and I kept looking at him and he kept getting a whiff that it was perhaps me that he was talking to. And I was like racking my brain. You were on the phone and you said, are you using hands-free? I am using hands-free. I have no clue. Yep. So I pulled it. So then I'm thinking, I must have run over a small family of geese or something like that I didn't see, you know, and they've completely annihilated the rarest species in the UK. Then I thought maybe the back doors in the van had come open and I'd perhaps caused a massive pile-up on the A1 where I've, you know, jettisoned, about 3,500 safe isolation kits across the A1. But no, little did I know.
I was thinking in my head, have I paid the insurance on the van?
I was hoping it was going to be a ruse. You know, I was expecting Ant and Dec to get out with like plastic faces on and it'd be some sort of ruse, or perhaps, you know, naively they might have followed the channel. Oh, no.
Yeah. So what had you done?
See, I've got tucked up here as well. So as I've come on to the A1, and this is not, I didn't say this, I didn't say it as my defence because I thought I was in the wrong. So let me say that first of all, yes I did. I crossed the chevroned areas, but what they didn't take into consideration as I came on, the person looked at me, gave me the nod. So, of course, arrogantly, you think maybe that's somebody that might have left a massive gap and went like that. I pulled into the gap, and that was it, me done.
Was it the copper that pulled you over?
Well, no, I couldn't believe it was, you know, and you couldn't use that as a defence because I knew I was wrong. So when he pulled me over, I was like, well, yeah, you're dead right, yeah. And he said, do you know what they are? And I did my full concrete one, you know, that was about the only thing I remembered. And it was like, yeah, I got read, I have the right to remain silent.
Did you?
Yeah. I said, you don't know me very well. It's all right, son. I could go on forever. Once went for some help, to a shrink, and she said to me, the opening thing was, she said, how do you think you're going to find talking to me? I love talking. I've been doing it since I was about 1 year old. I overrun the first one. She had to ask me to stop talking. I said, I've got a great story for you about Billy Joel. I started going into this story. She was like, come on, you've got to go now, son. But no, meanwhile, back at that, got my rights. Yeah, got the right to remain silent. You've got a right, he said, you'll need to surrender your drive. So this is the irate bloke. One was calm, one was all right. You have to surrender your driving licence. I said, well, so can you just put that into, you'll have to send it off in the post. Sounds better, doesn't it? Mr. Hayes, you'll have to send your driving licence off in the post. Okay, that's fine. Yeah, I didn't, So, it was awful. Yeah. Awful. About 2.5 minutes of your life it was. It felt like about a week. Yeah. Yeah, that's it. However, what I have found is, if you're speeding, you're lucky enough to go onto a speed awareness course and you can dodge your 3 points that you're going to get on your driving licence, you have to pay your fine. They do one for driving on carriageways. Early March, I'm going to do myself a little 3-hour course, see if I can refresh myself, but they've already pre-warned you. You can't be sarky or funny, or they've the right to pull your course. So
I'm looking forward to seeing a photograph of the crowd for that one.
Well, you're not allowed anyone in the room. So I can't do it here. I'm doing it on a Friday, so I'm doing it at home. So if you walked, I've got to, because if you walked in and started doing your usual routine, or Rick comes in with a bag full of fish and chips because he's eating his lunch again at 11:30 or whatever he's doing, you get thrown out. Right. So you can't be funny. Mm-hmm. So that's going to be...
Not much danger with that, Gary.
Boom.
Never once did I mention the receding hairline that you had on side. Guy even went to the toilet. He said, I'm not going to the toilet, I'm just checking my hair.
First, don't you, mate?
Just checking my hair. I said to him, don't fiddle around with it too much, it'll come off in your hand. Yeah? And I weren't talking about using the toilet. Yeah? You wanted to go there, did you? You wanted to go there live on the telly. Yep, so okay. So as we're talking about vehicles,